A comparison test of two paramotor gliders. Something new from Para versus Charger. Hi, my name is Václav Winklarek, it's now autumn and I welcome you to my new comparison test. At its beginning was this box from Para which I received. I was wondering what was inside. No. So, we have two gliders there. Let's look closer. The guys from Para called me, saying they would like to send two gliders for comparison, but they wouldn't reveal more. After unpacking, I was surprised by what was inside. If you ask why the manufacturer sent two chargers for a comparison test, the answer is simple. Here on the left side we have the successor of number 1 charger with serial number 2. Who would resist the opportunity to fly the first in the world outside the manufacturer's team with the new glider, which is still shrouded in a mist of secrecy at the time of this test? I just had to promise to publish the video just before Charger 2 goes on sale. So, let's get started! What will we compare the novelty with? The first charger is the bestseller in the recreational PPG reflex wings category with more than 4,000 pieces sold worldwide. Its worldwide popularity comes from incredible stability and resistance to all conceivable pilot errors. The charger made power paragliding safer. But the drawback for having such beginner-friendly qualities is average agility, slow response steering and short trimmers which reflect more of a training character. For pilots who are flying only occasionally, the original charger was a huge hit, but now its successor will go on the market. Let's begin comparative test Charger 2 versus Charger 1. Let's start on the ground. What differences do we find when we comparing these two wings? At first glance we notice that the ribs do not fit. If I count correctly, it's because the new charger has 50 cells while the old one has only 46 cells. I was surprised that only 4 extra cells create the impression of a significantly smaller wing in the air. The reinforcement of the leading edge remains simple, no auxiliary reinforcements have appeared. However, the visible change is that we see more rigid main ribs made using laminated Dacron. The Charger 2 also has noticeably narrower wingtips. Thanks to this, the wing overhead looks more modern. However, the tapered ends do not mean an increase of aspect ratio. When I fold the end to the center, the more oval shape of the Charger 2 stands out. The coloring lines remain completely shifted in variety of different colors, which I consider quite important for clarity in the hobby glider category. One exception is the line leading from the wingtip steering handle to the stabilizer, which is unshifted. Here I would lobby for it to be replaced with the shifted lines in the production version. It can sometimes complicate the preparation of the wing for launch by not being very visible. The risers have undergone a significant change. Charger 1 has a relatively simple risers. The more complex risers of Charger 2 probably promises the higher top speed with open trimmers. The trimmers are longer. Is it a promise that Charger 2 will accelerate more with fully open trimmers? The steering handle has 2 magnets. When you are flying Charger 1, the incessant searching of handle side with a single magnet for hanging it is annoying. The small wingtip steering handle is again placed very low, so it's very well reachable with open trimmers when flying paramotors or tries using higher attachments. The differences in the construction of both gliders show us that the Charger 2 is not just a simple facelift, but a completely new wing. I forgot to mention that both chargers are size 28 and my 222-pound body will be pushing into the air by 27 horsepower Volksjet paramotor. So, let's see how the new charger will behave in the air. What are the differences between the two chargers while running on the ground with them? As a reminder, first let's inflate the Charger 1 overhead. The result is calm and prudent journey up. You have the majestic feeling of launching B-52 bomber in your hand. This is typical for Charger 1. And now Charger 2. Wow, so this is different. What you don't see in the video is a feeling of lightness in your hand. The bomber is gone. Let's use digital tricks and compare the inflation of both wings. The Charger 2 inflates easier. When it reaches flight position overhead, the Charger 1 still has a long way to travel. I must say that the feeling of lightness when pulling up this glider is certainly not due to a narrower profile. If we look at Charger 2 from the side, the wing is still quite broad. However, by changing to some less heavy material, the feeling of lightness has been achieved. The top surface is made of Skytex 38, same as the Charger 1, whereas the bottom surface and ribs are made of lighter Skytex 32. The Charger 2 is semi-light wing. The improvement during inflation is even more noticeable in low or nil wind conditions. In addition, the wing overhead holds shape beautifully even at minimum speed. But Charger 1 also has its pros. When inflating, it starts to slow down spontaneously from 80% of the way up and stops overhead even without using the brakes. So basically, forcing it overshoot and collapse while inflating means you have to do something very wrong. If you pull the Charger 2 quite hard, or if it's blowing a lot, it still requires slight braking or forward movement of the pilot. If you do not do anything of this, there is a risk of slight overshoot. This advantage of Charger 1 can also be a minus. Slowing down the canopy before reaching the ideal position above the head can lead the pilot developing a bad habit of running with an insufficiently inflated canopy. As a result, the launch is then significantly longer. This bad habit can be very troublesome when changing to another glider. That's why I personally prefer the Charger 2's inflation behavior. But now, two clear pros for Charger 1. Charger 1 responds to the loss of the lift by slowly sliding to the side, and even a beginner can manage to correct the glider by increasing the thrust. When Charger 2 lost the lift, it moves to the side a little faster, and a possible correction would require more skills. To make it clear, you can hold Charger 2 over your head very easily. Only if it lost the lift, it slides to the side more quickly than Charger 1. And to lay the Charger 2 down to the ground nicely, we need to step into it. Charger 1 does not require this. So, time to sum up kiting. The new Charger inflates better and inflation requires less force. In my opinion, this is the big plus for Charger 2. At nil wind, the differences are even greater in favor of Charger 2. It needs only a minimum speed to stay overhead, but so does the Charger 1 excel in this behavior. Charger 1 requires a little less ground handling skills. Charger 2, on the other hand, gives more opportunities for the pilot to grow. My first impressions are very favorable to the Charger 2. So, time to see how it behaves with a paramotor. The most frequently asked question from a recreational pilot towards a glider is how easy to take off. The takeoff is the most stressful part of the flight. For the Charger 2, the answer is it takeoffs great. Let's discuss this in detail. It inflates easier and faster than Charger 1. When it lifts you up, you can count on it for 100%. The risk of following sync is almost zero. The subjective feeling is that it goes somehow on its own and easily. Charger 1 only offered a feeling you can do it. Let's make the conditions more difficult. In a stronger wind, even a heavier pilot of my type takeoffs in 5 steps. Charger 1 would pull you more backwards. All the takeoffs you will see further were recorded under conditions in which the most recreational pilots wouldn't like to take off. Don't be fooled by the blue sky and sun. It's 1 RPM, so thermal bubbles are pushed from the field to the runway. In addition, gust wind from 1.5 to 4 meters per second quickly change direction in the range of more than 90 degrees. Ideal conditions for testing the resistance of the glider. Initially, it blows approximately 40 degrees from the right of the planned takeoff direction. Despite the strong wind from the side, we take off with a minimal correction in the planned direction. Let's play it one more time. Let's stop it. Have a look how the canopy inflates off the start axis towards the wind. When inflating, the Charger 2 is undoubtedly more sensitive on the wind direction than Charger 1. But if you push full throttle, the Charger 2 corrects itself under the thrust of paramotor to the original direction of takeoff. You could forget about this with Charger 1, because the off-axis inflation and full throttle led the canopy to swing from side to side and subsequent interruption of the takeoff. If I mix side wind and the pilot of center of the glider, there follows a massive off-axis inflation of canopy. But it self-stabilizes without significant corrections. If the wing has enough lift, it's easier to stabilize Charger 2 than Charger 1. And now reverse takeoff with the wind 30 degrees from the left side. After the turn, I make a mistake and release the throttle for a while. Now, the wing doesn't like the loss of the thrust. When I add throttle again, the wing adjusts itself to direction of the thrust. The only thing Charger 1 is a little better at is the high resistance to overshooting. If I inflate the Charger 2 sharply and do not brake it adequately, or it doesn't have a paramotor thrust, it can overshoot a bit. During the test, I started more than 30 times and I didn't have to interrupt any takeoff. Each takeoff probably wasn't a style of perfection, but the wing finally got me into the air. And that's what recreational flying is all about. Relaxed takeoff with high percentage of success. The landing is the second maneuver in which equipment is often being demolished. The glider should therefore help the pilot as much as possible with landing. Charger 1 offers a lower landing speed. This is useful for steep landing, but the flare is weak. The response to steering inputs are not the most accurate. Charger 2 works differently. I guess it has a better glide ratio, so you land more gently but with a little higher forward speed. When landing at speed, we finally flare. In addition, it responds perfectly to the steering inputs. We could only dream about that behavior with the Charger 1. If you want to put Charger 2 nicely on the ground, you have to move to the canopy. Otherwise, it doesn't want to move from overhead position. And now back to known turbulences. This landing here I hit a sink zone and fell down. Without canopy's immediate response to steering input, it would be a hard landing. I would be worse with Charger 1. When you find out something is wrong during the flight, I admit I forgot to connect the stop button connector after recharging the battery, so I made the landing with the running engine. Principle: place the canopy outside the rotating propeller, it's the safest on the side. Even in that immediate stress, Charger 2 got me safely to the ground. Then it was just a comedy for audience until I disconnected the spark plug. In general, Charger 2 landings are easier, although a little bit faster than with the Charger 1. The Charger 2 is more versatile tool. And again a summary at the end. The winner of takeoffs and landings is the new Charger. Among the current models of Mech Para PPG gliders, nothing takeoffs easier than Charger 2. Even, I don't like to say it, it will surpass my favorite Samurai. This is mainly because it offers easier inflation and the ability to adapt to the thrust of per motor. You just don't care much about it, simply put the full throttle and it flies. The feeling that the wing has a lift is also more legible. The Charger 2 has a class better flare landings. It reacts to steering inputs immediately. But there are also advantages on the side of Charger 1. The canopy is more resistant to sirens and the pilot off-axis when it's inflating. Slower canopy inflation provides a longer reaction time for corrections. I would be less afraid of the pitching by Charger 1 at a sharp pull. According to the number of steps that are needed when I am landing, Charger 1 lands at a lower horizontal speed. But be careful, difference would be minimal. What differences between the wings can we find in the flight? Let's start with how the steering feels. The Charger 1 reaction time on inputs from handles has small delay. Precise piloting is a little bit demanding due to the delay. The Charger 2 is fundamentally changed with perfectly precise control. Due to quicker and more precise handling, a pilot can have more fun, like flying just 15 cm above the road if that is his style. Or plowing through the vegetable. Swing and touch the ground. Skate on the grass. Or when landing, glide a few inches above the ground. With the Charger 1, after fooling around for half an hour, you may start to get bored. With the Charger 2, you are still thinking about what else would you can try. Yes, I know, you may be thinking that kind of accuracy doesn't matter to recreational pilot because that's not his style. But he will use it too. For example, landings are easier with precise steering. And if you are a beginner and Charger 2 is your first wing, you won't outgrow it quickly. So, we have a big plus here in favor of Charger 2, accurate, and I wouldn't expect me to say that phrase, fun steering. The feeling of driving bus is the past. Let's look at a comparison of the speeds of both gliders. With the trimmers at neutral position, the speed is about 1 km/h faster than Charger 1. Fully activated speed bar will allow you to fly 53 km/h. The trimmers fully open 51 km/h. So, you can accelerate a bit more with the speed system, but the speed above 50 km/h is possible with open trimmers too. Maximum speed is 60 km/h. This is fantastic for a basic reflex glider. I measured a kilometer higher speed even on fully closed trimmers. The speed range of Charger 2 is significantly better than Charger 1, and we have another big plus. Just for fun, we add the other Mech Para PPG gliders to this comparison. The new Charger is defeated only by Samurai, and even the Colorado doesn't fly faster. Undoubtedly, the new risers contribute to the increased speed. While the simple mechanics of the Charger 1 risers change its profile only via C and D line rows, the Charger 2 has ingenious riser system that works with the B roll as well. The trimmers also have new buckles. It took me a while to get used to them. When the trimmers are fully open, the D row is completely free. When closing fully open trimmers, the first third goes very easily. The remaining 2/3 require more force than on Charger 1. So, the new Charger takes off easier, has more precise steering and can fly faster. And that leads to an interesting part of the test, which came from a conversation with Mr. Petrovicek from Para after my first test flight, before I knew which thing I was actually testing. I called to give him my feedback and I said, so I'm guessing it will be a glider level up of Charger, because I had exactly these impressions from flight. And he said, no, that's the new Charger. And I said, but it can't be Charger. Well, his next question was, why couldn't it be? It surprised me, because I didn't have a specific answer, just the feeling. Until now, the Charger has been such a robust wing, while the Charger 2 gives a lighter impression overhead. I thought if you took this robustness away, it's a sin. And that led me to test whether or not the new Charger is suitable for beginner and recreational pilots. The first thing a recreational pilot expects is an easy takeoff. And what he's afraid the most is a takeoff in nil wind conditions. Let me tell you, to find a place with zero wind on sunny autumn day mean driving over 400 kilometers, but I succeed. So run. And 9 steps and I'm in the air at nil wind conditions. Easy takeoffs are okay. And another test. Let's roll the canopy from side to side and see how long it takes to stop. One roll movement. And then another, and we are back to center. Auto stabilizing is okay. The third test is to see how it reacts to chaotic throttle controls. And again a full throttle and release. At the end I pulled lightly on brakes, but it wasn't necessary. The glider is more stable than my nerves. A very important safety feature to a recreational glider is that it requires more steering force from a pilot. It prevents a pilot from making an error unknowingly by overpulling the steering. An example is a spiral dive. Getting the Charger 2 to dive more than 5 meters per second requires pulling the steering handles with a great force. The growing force in steering will take me out safely. So, after all testing and flying, I didn't find a single key point why the new Charger shouldn't be suitable for beginners and recreational pilots. But it's different. I would say the old Charger has a feeling of robustness overhead, which on Charger 2 is replaced with a lighter feeling and greater overall freedom. And believe me, these new feelings are addictive and have completely changed my mind about how a recreational wing should be. And because you may ask what I see as the differences from Colorado, I'll say straight away that Colorado is even more agile, flying more smoothly, with less brake forces. Time to summarize flying impressions. The clear pluses of Charger 2 are more precise steering and higher speed range. The Charger 2 has also a wide range of maneuvers. There are areas where the wings are obviously different. The Charger 2 feels lightweight, the Charger 1 more robust. The Charger 2 reacts to messy air with a little more lightness, while the Charger 1 is more springy. Okay, we enjoyed the flying. Now it's time to sum up the whole test. Testing is over. All that remains is to give a final summary. If you ask me which glider is the winner of the comparison test, the answer is very simple. The Charger 1 remains the title, the glider most resistant to pilot errors. But the Charger 2 is very close behind and clearly better in every other partial test. It offers more comfortable takeoffs, more pleasant and precise handling, and adds an overall feeling of an accurately balanced wing over pilot's head. When needed, you have greater cruising and maximum speeds. The Charger 2 has an extended range of flight maneuvers, while it still keeps an eye on you so that you don't oversteer it. In addition, the Charger 2 has overall balanced characteristic, without a single flaw that would still bother you. When fair, the Charger 2 is by far the clear winner of the test. You get more value for your money, a stable reflex wing, and fun sport wing in one. While with the Charger 1 a talented pilot may outgrow in 1 or 2 seasons, with the Charger 2 for sure it will take longer. Finally, I'll add a comparison of technical parameters which I received only after the test. The wing is structurally really lightly sharpened, so our reliable feeling from the wing is correct. We also hit a better glide ratio. It will have an impact on better fuel consumption. In addition to this data, I also measured a 6% better climb ratio of the Charger 2. Alright, I'm switching off the engine. It's time to glide to the end. If you have the opportunity, don't hesitate to test the brand new Charger 2. It is always better to make your own opinion than watch the videos on YouTube. I hope you had fun. See you soon with another test.